The hunger she never mentions, she will never say it out loud, not to her closest friends, and certainly not to the men she dates. But there is a deep, quiet hunger living inside her that traditional romance simply cannot reach. While most men think the way to a woman's heart is through a constant stream of flowers, polite compliments, and safe conversation, they are fundamentally misreading the situation. She doesn't just want to be liked or appreciated in a way that feels like a standard transaction. She is starving for something that cuts much deeper than surface level attention. She wants to be emotionally moved, mentally shaken, and pulled completely out of the mundane routine of her everyday life. She is looking for a man who represents an experience, not just another appointment on her calendar. She wants to feel a spark that leaves a permanent mark on her memory, making it impossible for her to look at anyone else the same way again. The harsh reality is that most men never even get close to this level of connection because they have been conditioned to play it entirely too safe. They follow a predictable, polite script because they are terrified of making a mistake or causing friction. They believe that by being nice, agreeable, and constantly available, they are building a foundation for attraction. In reality, they are doing the exact opposite. Predictability is the silent killer of desire. It turns a potential fire into a pile of cold ash. When a woman can predict your next move, your next text, and your next compliment, the mystery is gone, and with it, the attraction. You weren't designed to be a background character in her life or a safe harbor she visits only when she's bored. You were built to be the catalyst that ignites something primal and powerful within her. Too many guys are currently trapped in a tiring, desperate cycle that actually pushes high quality women away. They think that by over texting, over giving, and oversharing their feelings early on, they are proving their worth. They operate under the false assumption that more effort equals more desire. But effort, when it's not grounded in self respect and boundaries, isn't magnetic, it's exhausting. It signals that you have nothing else going on in your life and that your entire identity is dependent on her reaction. This behavior smothers the very tension that is required for chemistry to exist. You have to understand that true, deep-seated attraction isn't about how much of yourself you pour out and lay at her feet. It's actually about what you choose to keep back. The real magnetism comes from the quiet fire behind your composure, the parts of you that she hasn't earned access to yet. It's the edge in your personality, the aura of a man who knows his own value, and the deliberate silence that communicates far more than empty flattery ever could. It is the difference between being a man who chases and a man who stands as a destination. Most men are so busy trying to prove they are good enough that they forget to be interesting. They offer the whole book on the first page, leaving her with no reason to keep reading. By maintaining your mystery and leading with intention rather than desperation, you create an emotional vacuum that she naturally wants to move toward. Today, we are moving past the nice guy strategies that have left you overlooked and unseen. We are unlocking the 4 specific emotional triggers that move a woman from casual interest to a state of total obsession. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not or using cheap tricks to get a reaction. It is about stepping so fully into your own presence and your own purpose that she has no choice but to lean in closer just to catch a glimpse of what makes you tick. If you are done being the guy who gives everything and gets nothing in return, this is your wake-up call. We are about to shift the power dynamic entirely, transforming you from just another guy she knows into the one man she can't get out of her head. The power of intrigue. The first fundamental truth of high-level attraction is as simple as it is powerful. She is instinctively drawn to the unknown. Most men operate under the delusion that they need to sell themselves by laying all their cards on the table immediately. But real attraction doesn't live in what she already knows. It lives in the space between what she's seen and what she's still trying to figure out. When you are an open book, there is no reason for her to keep reading. When you explain every thought, justify every action, and fill every silence with nervous chatter, you kill the tension that makes her heart beat faster. Intrigue is created when you choose to be the person who holds back just enough to keep her curious. It is the art of leaving a gap in the conversation, not because you are playing a game, but because you move with a level of intention that most men lack. Think about the magnetic presence of a man who enters a room and doesn't feel the slightest urge to fill the air with noise. He doesn't perform, he doesn't brag, and he doesn't rush to be the center of attention. His stillness actually speaks louder than anyone else's volume because it signals a profound level of self assurance. When you choose a thoughtful pause before speaking, or a knowing look instead of a long winded explanation, you are creating an emotional vacuum. Instinctively, she feels the need to lean in and fill that space. This is where her imagination takes over. When she has to wonder what you're thinking or what your next move might be, she is becoming emotionally invested in you without you having to lift a finger. You have to realize that people don't actually crave full access to someone. What they truly crave is the thrill of the chase and the slow, rewarding process of discovery. The mistake the average man makes is giving away the ending of the story before she's even finished the first chapter. He thinks that by oversharing his life story, his scars, and his future plans within the first hour, he is building connection. In reality, he is removing any reason for her to stay curious. He becomes a brochure, something you scan once, get the information from, and then toss in the trash. You want to be a masterpiece, a complex novel where each chapter she earns only makes her want to read the next one more. Every time you show restraint, every time you say less than expected, and every time you stay calm when others would react, you are building layers of depth. You are showing her that knowing the real you is a privilege that must be earned over time, not a free sample given away to everyone. When you master the power of intrigue, the entire dynamic of the interaction shifts from you chasing her to her being pulled toward you. This isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being incredibly present while maintaining your own internal world. It's about having the confidence to let her wonder about you when you aren't around. By not being available at the snap of a finger, and by not explaining every detail of your day, you allow her mind to play out different scenarios. That mental energy she spends on you is the literal fuel of attraction. You are essentially teaching her that your presence has weight and your words have value because they aren't thrown around cheaply. You are inviting her into a journey of discovery where she has to peel back the layers herself. And because she has to work for it, she will value you 1,000 times more than the man who gave it all away for free. The strength of challenge. The second emotional trigger is rooted in a truth that most men are too afraid to acknowledge. She does not want a yes man who bends his entire reality just to keep her smiling. While it might feel safer to agree with every opinion she has or to go along with every plan she suggests, this constant compliance actually acts as a repellent. When a man agrees with everything just to avoid a moment of friction, he is communicating that he lacks a backbone and that his own values are up for sale. She isn't looking for a follower. She is looking for a man who remains solid and immovable even when she pushes against him. She craves the kind of man who doesn't fold under pressure, someone who has a clearly defined internal compass and refuses to let anyone, including her, knock him off his path. When you can look her in the eye and disagree with calm, grounded certainty, you aren't being rude. You are demonstrating a rare level of self respect that commands her respect in return without you ever having to ask for it. To master this trigger, you must understand that you don't need to be loud, aggressive, or domineering to lead. You simply need to be unshakable. Most men treat a woman's beauty like a currency they have to pay for with constant validation and ego stroking. They break their own schedules, ignore their own responsibilities, and compromise their own standards just to stay in her good graces. But when you refuse to reward her looks with instant submission, something primal inside her wakes up. She realizes that she has finally met a man who values his own integrity more than a cheap moment of approval. This creates a powerful shift in the dynamic. By not breaking your code just to avoid a little bit of tension, you prove that you are a man of substance. You are showing her that your world does not revolve around her moods or her whims, but around your own mission and purpose. Women are not instinctively drawn to compliance, they are magnetically drawn to conviction. Every single time you calmly hold a boundary, whether it's protecting your time for the gym, sticking to your work routine, or standing by your personal values, you are sending a loud, silent message. I am here to choose, not just to be chosen. Most men act like they are on a permanent job interview, desperately trying to prove they are worthy of her time. When you flip that script and show that you have standards she must also meet, the attraction deepens instantly. When she realizes that she can't pull you out of alignment or manipulate your emotions with a sharp word or a cold shoulder, she begins to feel a rare and profound sense of safety. She feels safe because she knows that if you can stand up to her, you can stand up to the rest of the world to protect what matters. This strength of challenge changes the way she views the entire relationship. She stops testing you to see if you'll fold because she already knows you won't. Once she realizes your boundaries are real and your no actually means no, her focus shifts entirely. She stops wondering how far she can push you and starts wondering what she needs to do to rise to your level. She begins to ask herself if she is worthy of a man who is so grounded and self assured. This isn't about being hard to get or playing games. It's about being a man of such high character and consistency that your presence becomes a reward. You are no longer just another guy hoping for a chance. You are the challenge she didn't know she needed. And that is a position of power that makes you absolutely unforgettable. The art of uncertainty. To truly understand the art of uncertainty, you must first realize that it has nothing to do with being toxic, playing mind games, or creating unnecessary chaos. Instead, it is about the power of having a life that is so deeply rooted in your own mission and purpose that it simply does not orbit her. Most men make the fatal mistake of becoming an open book overnight, thinking that total transparency is the fastest route to intimacy. In reality, the moment a woman feels she has you completely figured out, when she knows exactly what you'll say, how you'll react, and that you'll always be there the second she snaps her fingers, the story effectively ends. Human desire thrives on the unwritten page. When you maintain a level of unpredictability by staying focused on your own world, you create a powerful sense of emotional gravity. You aren't pushing her away. You are simply refusing to be pulled into her orbit, which instinctively makes her want to move into yours.